And we'll start with a very short seated meditation, just so we can drop in, check in, see how we're feeling on this day. You can close your eyes or just have a soft gaze ahead of you. What's here? What's going on today? How does the body feel? Tuning into the breath. Allowing the breath to help slow down the rhythm so we can start to emerge into our sense of self, uniting the body and mind, starting to bring that connection towards itself. Anchoring the mind in sensation, in the feeling of breathing, of arriving on the floor, feeling the surface areas where the ground is meeting you and where the air is meeting you. Feeling the cloth on your skin. We'll take just a few more breaths here. Allowing the mind to settle. Nowhere to be but right here, right now. The to-do lists can go to the side. And we can really just involve ourselves in our practice today. And if your eyes are closed, you can blink them open. Just starting to bring some movement to the body. Let's start with some aimless wandering today, because sometimes the body just needs to check in with itself. How does it feel? Let's wake up our bones, wake up our joints, and just move any way that the body is asking for. It could be deep, long stretches, or it can be some rolling on the ground. Without looking for an objective or any instruction, just go inside yourself and listen to where the body wants to go. Without thinking, just moving, but being safe, staying within the parameters of safety and well-being, but just going with the flow. At any pace. You can change levels. Feeling what you feel. Really going towards feeling. And let it feel good. Let it feel as good as possible. Waking up. And if any sounds escape you, those are welcome sounds. Releasing any old tension in the body beneath the surface of the skin. Letting the head and the skull be involved too when you can. Taking all the parts of you for a ride, whatever that looks like. No judgment, just feeling. This is your expression of you, judgment-free expression, free to be any form. And when you feel sufficiently warmed up and in your body, we can start to meet at a tabletop position. Find the surfaces on the floor. Feel your feet, the tops of your feet and your palms in the ground. If you need some padding for your knees, place a blanket underneath them here. That can feel really nice and supportive. And you're just finding the ground, slowing down enough, taking a moment, really finding the support of the floor. Let it ripple through. So there's a sense of lightness in the rest of the body. The rest of the muscles don't have to work so hard. And you can feel the ground holding you up. We'll take a couple cat-cows here just to say hello to the spine. What's the spine feel like today? Cats and cows. And then we can take some lateral stretches, looking towards the feet, looking over the right shoulder and looking over the left. Still going towards what feels really good. And now we'll thread the needle. We can start with the right side. So just lifting the right arm up and overhead. Look at the ceiling. Wave hello to all that space up there. And then dive the fingertips right underneath that left shoulder. Let the right forehead, what is that called? Let the right temple just stay on the ground. And the left hand can just kind of lazily drape, or you could prop onto your hand. We're going towards the compression of that right shoulder. And noticing here as the body begins to renegotiate gravity. Watching the transformation of the tissues as they settle. Noticing any effort that can be released here. A sweet softness. It's stable. Checking in again with any muscles that might be working a little hard, if there's any tension or feelings of lifting away from the ground. And reconnecting with the support of the floor, allowing the body to yield to gravity without pulling away from the ground. We'll be here for a few more breaths. And pushing into that left palm to lift yourself back up, effortlessly reaching back towards the sky, feeling the space within the space, our connection to the outside. Placing that right palm down. And then we'll go ahead and do it on the other side. So lifting that left hand up, reaching it towards the ceiling, grabbing for the space, and then diving down through, reaching that left hand underneath the right armpit, resting the left temple to the floor. And finding the floor here. Applying that good stress to that left shoulder. The hydrating stress that wakes up all the tissues, oxygenizes everything, stimulates the meridians in the outer arms. Letting the breath be easy, effortless. Locating the jaw, noticing if there's any clenching, any movement in the mouth when the mind starts thinking a lot, and bringing some softness to the thoughts, some softness to the inner cheeks. Let the teeth be soft in the gums. Just imagining this relief, some release in the hard places of the face. Just a few more breaths here. Using that right palm to lift yourself back up. You can imagine that your torso is just floating on the air. Oh, and then lift the left hands back to the ceiling. Wave hello to whatever's up there. Hi. And then coming back down to all fours. Maybe lifting the knees up a little bit, getting some of that stress out of the knees. And then we can slide the legs back and bring the belly down, coming into a sphinx. So elbows are parallel, palms are parallel. If this is too much on the lower back, you can always widen the elbows a little bit, and that gives some relief to the lower spine. So if ever there's a time when you feel like, I want to ease into this, this is a great way. You can always feel free to change and go back and forth. But again, just searching for that support underneath you. Feeling the weight of the belly as the organs descend towards the floor. Head and neck can be loose. You can let the forehead kind of droop towards the ground, or you can bring a block underneath it. Sometimes that bothers my forehead, but maybe you find like a nice sweet spot that feels really good. Gravity is also just as useful. And if you're looking for more sensation, you can bend your knees, widen the knees a tiny bit, and just bring the soles of the feet together. That will add some more sensation to the lower back if you're interested. And we continue to search for sensation. Sensation keeps us present. Noticing where we can release in our minds and in our bodies. Any stories about sensation, stories about what we need to be or how we should look, they can go by the wayside because we're just looking for feeling. The little dance of all the little cells of the body that compose the tissues, that compose the bones, the muscles, organs, all the space in between all those pieces. So much to look for. We have this space to use as a laboratory to find out what's there, to work with what is. If you'd like to, you can stay here, or you can bring your legs down at any time. But if you want to go into a deeper back bend, bring your legs down first. Situate yourself back to center and widen the palms. Bring the hands out a little bit wider than shoulder length and come into a seal. And here's another fun place to research and explore. We can just see how much the shoulders are involved here. And practice, well, maybe that's a lot of shoulder, maybe that's not enough. And feeling where the body feels like it needs tone and where it can let go. Feeling the surface area underneath the palms, almost like they're little kickstands of support. And the rest of the body is just weightless, floating on top of that support. Taking care of the lower spine, the lumbar spine. If you need to tone the glutes or release the glutes, making sure to not hurt yourself there. And we'll be here for a little bit longer, coming down to elbows if you need to at any time. Breathing. And we'll slowly descend back to the ground, feeling the belly start to compress. All the organs get nice and squishy after having stretched out the belly. And you can bring your hands one on top of each other and rest in a crocodile pose here. Feeling all the front of you on the ground. Just noticing what's shifted, what's changed, what's moving. Where does it feel brighter? Where does it still feel maybe a little dark? Maybe there's a little bit of tenderness or brightness or warmth in the lower spine area. Just feeling for another moment. And now we'll push back up. You can re-find that cushion underneath your knees because we'll now push back into a child's pose. So the toes can come together. You can push your heels back towards your feet. If this is too wide, you can bring your knees back together and come into a smaller position. And let's have the hands outstretched in front of us today. But you always have the option to bring them to the sides by the feet. Really listening to what your body is asking for in this child's pose. And the organs get nice and compressed here, and the legs come up to meet the belly. The spine is moving in the opposite direction that it was in the Sphinx, the seal. And we find our support. How is the face right now? Noticing how the thoughts move the muscles of the face. Maybe there's slight contortion of the lips or a scrunching in the forehead. And letting that go, feeling a sense of ease. Let the mind be spacious, open, fertile, awake. Light. There's a lightness of being here, but a grounding and a stability. We'll be here for a little bit longer. Shining a light of attention on all the little cells of the being, our being, all the space within the space, the little molecular pieces can shimmer and dance, find some relief, no holding or grasping. Finding the freedom within our expression. We can start very carefully and slowly rising back up, bringing our body back to a vertical position. Sitting for a moment, maybe just taking Sukhasana, an easy seat, very briefly. Tuning in. What's it like now? What's this relationship to gravity like? And then taking another round of aimless wandering just to get back into the feeling of neutrality. We've been bending the spine a lot, so just kind of moving in any way that feels like, okay, moving back into neutral and letting go of the echoes of the poses. Any way the body wants to move right now, any way at all. Light and breezy. Nothing crazy. And we'll meet together on our backs. And when we get there, we'll just do straight legs for a moment. Now finding ourselves here. What's it like when the whole surface of the front is open and facing towards the ceiling? And the whole back surface feels the floor coming up to meet it. All the cells are supported here. We're not lifting or flying away from the ground. We're yielding to gravity. And now saying hello to your right foot. Maybe bringing a little bit of movement into the toes, into the ankle. And then bringing that foot up closer towards you so you can hook your hands around your shin. It doesn't have to be forced or fully stretched as far as it can go, but we're looking for some sensation here. Just a nice edge where we can breathe and find release. Still become present, working with the sensation. Allowing our tissues to compress and expand. Noticing if there's any extra tension in the shoulders or the arms again. Finding the effortless effort. Effortless effort, I think, was a term used by Susie Aldous Hatley? Oh, I might be wrong. Susie Aldous, and then the last name begins with an H. And she is a yoga teacher and anatomist. And And she talks about relaxing in order to find strength. So we can relax here in our power. Knowing that the more we release, the more the cells can breathe, the more the cells can move freely. And then when we find efficiency of movement, ease in our movement, we're actually a lot stronger. Now, keeping that right knee bent, you can place the sole of that right foot on the top of your left thigh and kind of hook that knee around to the left, spinning it over, moving your hips over to the right a little bit more, and then you could tee out the arms, you could cactus the arms, you could place a block or a blanket underneath that right shoulder to bring the floor up to meet it. You could place a block underneath the right knee or a blanket or a pillow, looking for ultimate support to find that release, effortless effort in this twist. How's the breath? Without judgment, just coming back again and again, noting what's here. Okay, I have the book right here. It's Susie Hatley Aldous, for anyone who's wondering. Leaning into the support. Letting go any extra work. Sinking into the twist. Feel this nice wringing out of the organs and the spine. Good stress. Many different meridian lines and tissues. Opening channels. Freedom of movement. Few more breaths here. Perhaps imagining how you'll move to a flat back before you actually do it with the most care and ease. Least amount of stress on muscle. And then you can start to unwind, coming back to a flat back, both legs out long, spine is neutral. The echoes, the reverb. The bursting of energy through the body. What was once maybe a little cloudy or stuck is now moving. So let's even out our sides, shall we? Bringing a little bit of movement to the left foot and ankle, flexing and pointing the toes or swirling around the heel. And then raising that left knee up towards you, finding a nice little gentle grip. Less like a grip and more like a holding, soft holding. A good amount of sensation, good stress. There's that today. What does that look like today? This ever-changing, evolving system we have. Susie Hatley Alvis says, when we have a lot of tension and when we overwork the muscles, we can cause injury or ailments because the body is not free and released. When the muscles are free and released, that's when the strength can really absorb into itself. Muscles just work well together, the way that they all fit and weave around the body. When we are relaxed, the body intuitively knows how to work in harmony. And now we can move into our twist. So placing the left foot somewhere near the upper right thigh and twisting over to the right, shifting the hips, adding some support underneath the knees and the shoulders. Maybe it takes a minute to fidget around, finding it, releasing towards it. Let the arms be weighted. Feeling the power of gravity as some of the tissues start to release, as the fascia dissolves and breaks down. The body becomes used to the shape and renegotiates. Reminding ourselves there's still no rush. We still have this time. Slow down and be seekers of our own vessel. What's happening inside there? What does it feel like? Do you feel like it's true that softness creates strength? What do you find? Soft, hollow throat, releasing from the inside out. Soft tongue, soft gums. Even the nostrils are soft. Space beneath the cheeks, the eye sockets, the brain inside the skull can release. And before moving out of this shape, just imagine it. Imagine the easiest way to come flat on your back, unwinding, stretching out the legs. And we can arrive here now in our Shavasana. Resting, maybe gathering some warmth, a blanket, socks, an extra layer, a pillow. You can find a flat back or curl up somewhere cozy. And we'll just forget everything that we talked about in this last hour. Let it all go. Trust that the body absorbed it all. Releasing into the now. Fresh start. New beginning. Time to rest. Feeling air, the space around you, above you, along the sides of you. Like a bird's eye view of yourself. Wherever you are, however you are. And we can look down at our small selves and thank ourselves for practicing yoga today, for getting in touch with our humanity, for liberating parts of ourselves. And maybe stretching the body in half with a big breath. Pulling ourselves apart. Yawning the body open, greeting the day. Let any sounds come out. And then rolling to one side. Give yourself a little hug. And coming up to sit, to close. We dedicate our practice to all beings. In the hopes that the merits of our practice will relieve suffering. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be healthy. And may all beings be at peace. Closing with a gesture of your choice or a bow.